Here's my collection of ice sculptures I have created during the 2019 World Ice Art Championships in Fairbanks, Alaska. The competition starts with a one-man competition where we are given one 4,000-pound block of ice, naturally made, and only one person can carve it in a span of 2 days. Our ice is harvested from a new gravel pond just about a mile from the park. And to our surprise, this ice was filled with some methane bubbles. Some speculation where the methane has come from is either a bunch of debris got thrown into the pond that biodegraded into methane, or B, is it result to the large earthquake that happened in southern Alaska back in December, and has that created some fissures and released some methane through the pond. I started this competition off by removing these giant 300-pound blocks of ice on the base, stacking them on top, stretching this piece to about 8 feet tall, and then spending about an entire day or so on carving this on scaffolding. This sculpture is titled Pointing in the Mirror. The concept behind this piece is having a figure with 8 arms that is expressively pointing in different directions. Thinking about a personality type that's causing blame. Always not their fault, someone else's fault, something else's fault. However, when you look deep inside yourself, which is symbolizing that hand coming out of its chest and holding a hand mirror, the blame really is you, yourself. Well, after a 2-day rest, we're ready to start our second competition, the traditional 2-man competition, which is where we get 2 of those 6 feet by 4 feet by 2 feet thick blocks of ice. There's 2 people, and we get 3 days to do this. This year I have carved with my brother, who's been a team member of mine for about 10 years now. And one thing that he has always wanted to do was create an ice lathe. And so this year he had the opportunity where he's converted his drill press into a lathe, and his primary job was making the cage. And so here he is using his homemade ice lathe and carving bars out of it. And here's our finished product. Perspective is the key. And here we have a figure that's crouched in despair, lost, sad, in this cage. And coming out of its back, which is out of his body really, is his essence, soul, higher self, with his heart on the inside of his body, holding a key. I think the concept behind this piece is pretty self-explanatory, but the idea is that no matter how down you are, really if you look inside of yourself, that's where you can really set yourself free. Knowing that deep down, you are the only person that you can help. No one else can really help you. They only can give you guidance, wisdom, support. Well, after another 2-day break, we start off our famous 4-man competition, where we get 9 of these big blocks and we get a team of 4. This year I am continuing to carve with my family, where I brought in my dad, my brother again, and my sister from Southern California. It's always fun working with family. We're very creative and inventors and tool makers of our own right. And so I've given a job to my father to create these hollow spheres. With him and his experience, he has invented a couple of tools. One of them here is the ice router mill. This planes the ice to a nice flat surface. Another tool is the bowl jig, where he grinds out these near perfect bowls on the inside of the ice, where then we'll merge them together to make this perfect sphere on the inside. And then we get these forklifts that will lift these thousands of pounds of ice and set them where we desire. Well, 6 days later, and here we have, this is our piece titled Influencing Our Collective Reality. And so what we have here is that we have a console of 7 influencers sitting in different chairs and different postures, contemplating about how they're influencing the world. And above their heads are their thought bubbles that have symbols in them. And I have a symbol upside right from the front side, and in the back is a symbol upside down. Is to show which way should they influence the world, you know? Should it be thinking positively, progressively, or negatively, or thinking in separates, right? Destruction in a way. So the 7 influencers I have are justice influencer, communication influencer, math influencer, spiritual influencer, aesthetics influencer, our literary influencer, and our science influencer. And in the center, we have the 2 worlds, the positive one being on the top and the negative one being on the bottom. And inside, we have etched out all the symbols in there, where the top has them upside right, and the bottom will have them upside down. And the 2 worlds are stretching apart, symbolizing which direction should we take our world into together. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I had a blast of creating the work as well as this video, and I'm looking forward for next year, so please stay tuned.